Hey, what's up you guys? Just want to give you a heads up on one of the new operator skins for Gaz or Kyle. It's basically a skin that's called the Claymore. The mission requires you to complete 7 contracts with Kyle as your operator. Now, some of you guys might be thinking this mission might be bugged just because your progress isn't tracking, but thing is that you actually have to complete missions 1, 2, and 3 before starting to complete the final mission. If you're not aware, you can go ahead and check your progress on which mission you're at. If you go into the operators tab, select the operator, in this case Gaz or Kyle, and as soon as you hover over him, it gives you an option to view mission details. On PC, you have to press the R key. On PS4 and consoles and Xbox, I'm not sure what key that would be. Once you press the view mission details, you can go ahead and click the left arrow and scroll between 1, 2, and 3, and 4. The first mission requires you to get, I believe, 3 gulag wins. Second mission is to get 5 weapon kills with a legendary drop as Kyle. The third one is to call in 15 different kill streaks as Kyle. And the final one is the complete 7 contracts in Warzone as Kyle. I'm going to be giving you guys some tips and tricks on how to complete these missions the most easiest and fastest way. Just keep in mind that I'm a solo queue player, and what I mean by solo queue player is that I queue up in trios, duos, quads with squad fill, and I play with random players. I'm not talking about playing solos as a solo player, just because solos is just a different experience and you get too many passive players in that game. So from my personal experience, I attempted to get 5 legendary weapon kills in trios, but again, from my personal experience, I did not receive any legendary kills in 6 games, or legendary weapon drops at all. It wasn't until I switched to duels where I was actually able to get my first legendary weapon drop and actually get 4 kills in duels. In trios, I ended up getting on my final game the Car 98, which is a good gun. It's just that when you're playing trios with randoms, they tend to be passive and don't know when to push. So I was constantly getting downs on enemies, but since they were like about 200 meters out, their teammates just kept on reviving them, and my teammates were just too scared to actually push up. So it ended up being just a stalemate, and I ended up getting about 6 downs my first match and no actual confirmed kills. That's one of the reasons why I would recommend playing duels. The reason why I recommend playing duels, especially if you're a solo queue player, is because in duos you have more opportunity to 1v1. If their teammate does come after you, it's easier to 1v2 than it is 1v3 enemies. So if you're able to get that first enemy down, you're most likely able to secure that kill, and by the time his teammate comes around, you can just reposition or heal up. So that's one of the reasons why I recommend duels. And also in duels, it's a lot more difficult to actually trade kills. So if you get an enemy down, chances are their teammate is going to play it smart and not push you aggressively, since he has no one to trade with. So again, it makes it way more easier to get kills with these legendary weapons. In my opinion, the legendary weapons are just total ass. The ones that I kept getting was the Car 98, the Galil with a short barrel, which is just bad in my opinion, and the Growl with a short barrel, and the VLX optic. Those 2 weapons were just, it was the most tedious and frustrating task to do, just because, again, when I played matches, sometimes I'd get assist, so I'd weaken the enemy, and next thing you know, my teammate steals the kill. So it was really frustrating and tedious task to do. But again, in duos it's so much easier because you can contest more fights and you can actually rush in yourself and just finish off the kill your own. Okay, so for the next mission that requires you to call in 15 kill streaks as Kyle, my best recommendation to do this is to join a solo match, or if you want, if you have friends to play with, you can play trios because it would be a lot more easier, or even quads. But if you're playing as a solo player, my recommendation is to join a solo BR match and just drop the opposite of wherever the flight path takes you, and drop on the outsides of the circle. The reason why I say this is because you'll be able to finish a lot more contracts and you don't have to worry about enemies, which means you can just sprint or use a car and get from point A to B super quick. So I would really recommend doing the solo queue run and just stack up on your money. From there, once you get to the kill streaks, you can just keep on buying. I would recommend buying cluster strikes. If you have hardline, I didn't use hardline. I should have. But if you have hardline, it reduces the cost. I'm not sure about how much, so I can't really confirm that since, again, I didn't use hardline. But you can always use that just to make it a lot more easier. But again, buy just cluster strikes. You can call in 2 cluster strikes at one time, but you can keep on buying multiple. What I did is the match that I ended up playing, I ended up getting recons just because recons were the only contracts that were actually up at the time. There was just a few scavenger runs. So I ended up doing recons until my percentage multiplier actually increased. Once I got it to a high amount of percent, I think it was like 80%. I ended up doing one of the scav runs and I just got a lot of money doing that. One thing to also keep in mind is that if you buy a loadout, it actually does count as a kill streak. So buying a loadout does count towards your kill streaks. At least your kill streak count. So you can always buy a loadout and then just keep on buying cluster strikes. Me personally, I didn't buy a loadout just because I was playing solos. There was no point. I ended up doing this about 2 or 3 times, I believe. And ended up getting 15 kill streaks in 2 or 3 games. I can't remember. I think it was 3 games. But again, if you have friends to play with, you can actually jump in trios. If you have enough friends to play in quads, and you guys are all running contracts, you can easily stack up 30k between each of your friends. And if you guys put all your money together, you guys can just buy a whole bunch of kill streaks. I'm sure you guys can get 3 people finish with the challenge. If not, just have at least 1 person finish. So you always have that option. If you have friends, you can get it done in 1 game easily, no problem. For the final mission for completing 7 contracts, again, I joined solo queue. Basically did the exact same thing, went the opposite route of my flight path and went outside of the circle. Only for this part of the mission, I actually did recons only. And the reason why is because in solos, recons complete much more quicker. So it's a lot more easier for you to do recons and just reposition. And recons actually tend to keep you within 150 and 200 meters from where you pick it up. Versus scav runs, they tend to take you out like around 300, 400 meters out. So what I recommend doing is finding a vehicle, driving to a recon, and just doing wherever you find recons available. For me, I was lucky enough that the final circle was not within scrapyard. It was actually outside. So when I landed scrapyard, there was about 6 recon missions like all stacked together, and I ended up completing all 6 within a short amount of time. It was so quick. So those are my recommendations. Basically just run solo queue if you're a solo player for calling in 15 kill streaks, and as well as completing 7 contract missions. Those are the easiest ones. For the 5 legendary kills, I would recommend dropping into duos, just again because you can easily confirm your kill after you down him. So for the gulags, I can't really give you guys much tips on that. It just depends on how confident you are in yourself when you play and how good you are in 1v1s. I personally win about 90% of my gulags, so if you guys really need help on that, I doubt it's going to be hard to get 3 kills. You might not get it in your first 3 attempts, but it should be doable. But if you guys do really need a guide on how to win gulags or tips on how to win gulags, tips that I actually use myself, just let me know in the comments below and I'll try to make a video on it. But again, I don't want to go too much in detail with that because it's just going to be a whole long video. Anyways, appreciate it, guys. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, and peace out.
You got baited. You got baited. You got baited. Baited. Baited.